Warning. Listener discretion advisory for the following program. It contains explicit language, controversial takes, and tangents that'll make your head spin. All opinions expressed are just that, opinions, and belong solely to those who speak them. This is Welcome to Hell.
What an excellent day for a new guest.
You'd like that?
Are you fucking nuts?
You listen, you little bitch. You hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish, understand?
I want you to pray to your God. I want you to pray that he comes and saves you.
Do I look like someone who cares what God thinks?
Spoilers ahead.
Hey, all you crazy fuckers, welcome back. And you know what? I've been in a bit of a mood lately. So I figured I would take this episode to ruffle a few feathers, piss some people off, dare I say, raise a little hell. And how am I going to do that, you might ask? I'm going to give you my top 10 rankings of the Hellraiser franchise. And yes, I'm going to cut off at 10. I'm not going to include the remake because as much as I love it, for starters, I'm not 100% where I would place that. And also I figured kind of keep it to the OG, Pinhead, Hell Priest, what have you. Even though it's not Bradley in the last two, it's still the same character, just maybe not played as well. But before I get into it, I just wanted to throw a little selfishness out there. And over the last few weeks, I've kind of been playing around with a script idea. And for the most part, I think I could pull most of it off flying solo. But hey, you could always use a little help. So I'm just kind of throwing a little shout out for any creatives out there, whether it's acting, I could definitely use one or two people to help out with this, or any kind of crew members. At the very least, if there's anyone out there willing to throw some tips and tricks and whatnot. Again, I have a general idea what I'm doing, but can always learn more, and boy could I. So anybody out there willing to help in some way, it's very much appreciated. This isn't necessarily something that I'm planning on putting out there and running festivals and making millions of dollars. It's more of like a therapy project. So at this moment, I'm kind of looking for volunteers, unless some things change to where there could be the possibility of raising some funds for it. But either way, if you have any interest, again, in either physically taking part in this or just throwing out a little advice or anything, hit us up on any of the socials or wherever you're listening to this. Again, there's the Text to Nerds link, so you can contact us that way. Please and thank you in advance. And also, don't forget to do all the things out there to spread the word about this lovely show we have here. We appreciate all of you who have been listening, anyone who's been following us, anybody who's been spreading the word and getting their friends hooked on it as well. Keep up the great work. We appreciate you. Now, let's crack this box wide fucking open. And I guess another little disclaimer, which seems kind of dumb in an episode where I kind of almost want to piss people off, but I feel like I'm one of the few people that actually enjoys most, if not all, the straight-to-video sequels. Nothing will compare to the original, or actually nothing will compare to the first two. If they would have just shut it down after Hellbound, perfect fucking, I don't know, do two movies count as a franchise? And after those two, the quality decline becomes exponential. But I still enjoy a lot of them in their own little way. Even at the bottom of my list here, I can rewatch it. Do I get the same feeling I do from those original two movies? Fuck no. But here we go. At number 10, I have Inferno. One thing I really don't get about this movie is anybody I hear talk about the later sequels, this seems to be at a lot of people's top. And I don't get that at all. Obviously, this is the first one where they took some, pulled some spec script out of the trash and figured, hey, if we throw a box and some Cenobites in this, we got a Hellraiser movie. And that's why this one's at the bottom for me. because this one feels the most like that. I still think it's a decent movie, a basic, mystery, crime thriller. But to me, this is the one that most feels like they shoehorned Hellraiser into the mix. And I know most of these are because, well, we got to retain the rights. And I mean, there's a whole other rant I could go on, or probably have gone on. If you're that creatively bankrupt that you don't know what to do with it, but you just want to hold on to the fucking cash cow, let somebody else take it over. But if you're going to hold on to it just for the sake of cashing in on the properties you can cash in on, but have nothing to add to it, then just fucking let it go. You don't deserve to have it. But with Inferno, like I said, it's a decent cop thriller movie. Craig Sheffer, the main character in this, I think does a great job with it. I mean, I guess everyone does a pretty good job in it. But again, it's just get the Pinhead fucking cameo in an otherwise average movie. And the Cenobites in this are just, again, meh. Like, I guess I did like the half a chatterer running around. I thought that was a cute little thing they did there. But as a whole, it was aside of Pinhead, it was just cat and mouse with it looked more like the fucking Silent Hill nurse. But anyone out there listening that is on board with this being the top of the straight-to-video sequels, please message us and let me know why, because, again, I'm not saying the others are masterpieces. However, obviously, this is at the bottom of my list, and I just don't get how people rank it so highly. I'm not judging, I just would like it explained to me. At number 9, we got Hellseeker, and this one just barely ekes out Inferno, because I put it here for a lot of the same reasons, but it did feel less like, hey, let's just take this random script and make it into a Hellraiser movie. Probably because we get Kirsty back. And thank God they got Ashley Lawrence to reprise the role and not recast. Otherwise, this is kind of a cut and paste of Inferno. You have what turns out to be the shitbag of the movie. Pretty much Bruce Willising. Is that a verb? Fuck it. It's a verb now. Bruce Willising the entire movie. We get the little twist that Kirsty was technically behind all the bullshit that happens in the movie. And this is another one I hear everyone talk about almost this being their worst because you fucked over the character by turning her into a villain. I didn't see it that way. I mean, she does do shitty things, but I kind of took it almost more like a self-defense kind of thing. Her husband gets her this present for their anniversary, and it's not a very nice present. So she's kind of boxed in to do awful things. It kind of puts her back to the original movie. Now, in the original movie, it was more of a curiosity thing that she opened the box because she had no fucking clue what was going on. This time, it was kind of under duress, and she made the most of a shitty situation. Yeah, did people die? Did innocent people die? I get it. I'm the oddball. But so many people motherfucked this movie because they turned Kirsty into a villain. I didn't look at it that way. One thing I would have liked to have seen in this, when you're getting the flashbacks throughout the movie, I mean, obviously, if you're watching this, chances are you saw the original movies. So you know the bullshit Kirsty went through in those first two movies. But it would have still been nice to maybe touched on that a little more. Like really digging into how traumatized, how fucked up she got from those movies. Again, when we watch this, we have the knowledge of those first two movies. And God, I hope nobody started their Hellraiser journey on this one. But I just think they could have played the trauma up more. It was just, hey honey, got you this present. Oh, thank you. Oh, what the fuck? How dare you get me this? And then she does horrible things. Oh yeah, spoiler warning. As if you fuckers didn't know by now. But yeah, as a whole, I liked it. Again, it felt more like it was intended to be a Hellraiser movie, even though it wasn't. But Otherwise, if you've seen Inferno and you have not seen this one yet, which if you're going to watch Inferno, you might as well dive in and catch all these later movies. But yeah, swap out some new characters or one new old character, and it's pretty much the same story. Coming in at number 8, we have kind of the inspiration to go this route for this episode. For those of you not in the know, I recently became a year older, and a little something one of my fellow horror nerds got me was the 4K Blu-ray of Pumpkinhead, featuring the great Lance Hendrickson, which immediately got me thinking about Hellworld, which features another great performance from Mr. Hendrickson. And back when I first saw this movie, I mean, it was a long time ago. So some of the other big names in this movie weren't even close to being known at the time. We have Catherine Winnick of Vikings fame, the series, not the team. We got Carrie Payton, also known as Ezekiel for all you Walking Dead fans. And we have Superman himself, Henry Cavill. And holy shit, is his character nothing like the Man of Steel. You take everything Superman stands for, and Mike is not that guy. But this is a movie that, for the longest time, always ranked higher for me. And again, a lot of these sequels kind of switch around depending on my mood, but this one was always a little higher for me. I had a lot of fun with it. I like the semi-meta angle they took with it, how Hellworld is this completely fictionalized computer game, and the box and the Cenobites, they were all made up for the sake of this game. But again, spoilers, it's not as fake as the characters were led to believe. But yeah, in this one, it starts off with a funeral, and you have this group of friends, and it turns out the funeral is for one of the members of this friend group. And they go on to explain that he basically died because he got so infatuated with this Hellworld game that he started taking it as it's all real. And I'll keep it somewhat decent and say he had a bit of an oopsie, which led to his funeral. So we fast forward to a year later, and some of the friends are still into the game, some of them have moved on, like one or two just because, hey, we're more grown up now, so I'm not playing the game. Others, it's, because of the grief or the guilt of their friend dying. But there ends up being this announcement that there's this giant, I think it's supposed to be an annual thing, this Hellworld party. And this party's being held at the Leviathan House, which is basically this mansion, like museum. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank already, but I believe they said it was directly connected to La Marchand. But in any event, it's this big old-ass mansion where they're hosting this party. And the host of the party is played by Lance Hendrickson. And these kids come in, they initially get the tour of the place, and throughout the movie, they're getting picked off by Pinhead. And again, there's some twists and turns, but for a semi-meta take on the whole thing, it was enjoyable. It was definitely a product of the time, and dare I say, far better than Halloween Resurrection. Close to the original, not in the least, but it's a fun movie of the time. Next, we have Bloodline. This is another one that for the longest time has always been higher on my list. And another one that I think a lot of people kind of shit on, and I would say its biggest issue is that it's very 90s. Like the whole look of it just almost has like a made-for-TV movie look about it. But as a whole, I liked it. This was the only one I got to see at the theater. And I at the very least, liked the idea of it, giving you the whole history, showing you the generational curse of La Marchand, the man who built the Lamont configuration. And by doing so, it basically fucked up his entire family forever. And playing not only this gentleman, but also two of his descendants, we have Bruce Ramsey, which at the time I always confused with, I'm really gonna botch this, but Tom Hulce? I never thought of how to pronounce his last name, but from Animal House, he played Amadeus, and obviously a bunch of other stuff, but those were always my two favorite roles of his. We have an early performance, yet another actor that I had no clue about and did not appreciate at the time, but we have a young Adam Scott of many, many things, but of course I'll always love him in Parks and Rec. And then we also have Kim Myers from A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and she's another one. Anytime I see her in a movie, it's, she's great. But like I said, this basically shows the birth of the box, where this character is commissioned by some wizard, some master of the dark arts, whatever the case is. He makes this toy puzzle box. It has a little spell cast on it, which gives it its ability to open the gates of hell. And as a thank you for him doing that, his bloodline is forever cursed. So you get the run through that story, and then you got him in, at the release of the movie, modern day, and it's showing the toy maker's descendant and his family, and basically the shit they got to deal with, and things don't go really nice for them. And then now we have, I believe it's supposed to be the 22nd century, we have a much later descendant who has the be-all, end-all way to close this gateway to hell once and for all. Does he pull it off? Well, you'll just have to watch and find out. But like I said, I enjoyed the premise. I liked a lot of the characters in it, but I think its biggest flaw is, again, they didn't have a lot of money in it, and it just looked very mid to late 90s. On the positive side, we have, I consider this movie to be the last of the quotable Pinhead. There may be one or two quotable lines from him beyond this one, but yeah, I feel like these first four movies, you're guaranteed a handful of lines that are just stand out. I mean, fuck, we used one of the lines of this movie for the intro to the show. And I think this is also the last one where we get really good kills. Definitely on the creative side on this one, but not as silly as Hell on Earth. And I mean, obviously I like Hell on Earth because we haven't gotten to it yet, but the kills in that were, going back to one of my favorite terms, kind of comic booky. Whereas the ones in this one were silly, but it felt darker. It felt more serious. But it's always been one of those that once a year, once every other year, I'll just have that little itch to go back and see it again. And I would recommend that if anyone out there has not yet seen it, go check it out. And if you're not already, I'm pretty sure that this is the point where anybody familiar enough with the franchise or has seen all these movies are probably starting to twitch a little, knowing a bunch of these that I have not yet gotten to. But as my number 6, we have Deader, which I recently found out. I mean, I knew they came out the same year, but I didn't realize this was shot back to back with Hellworld. They wrapped on this one and jumped right into Hellworld. One of the things that this movie really helped me realize was how underrated of an actress Kari Wurr is. And it's not just a bias of growing up watching Remote Control on MTV. I mean, who didn't love her at the time? But I thought she did a really good job in this. So she plays this investigative reporter that gets sent on all these odd assignments, and she gets sent to investigate this cult that is all into basically killing people and then resurrecting them. And there's a connection to the box on this, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but I thought it was even a half a step going closer to the original lore, because you have this group that's using the box and they're fucking with death. And I just overall found it more interesting than Inferno and Hellseeker. It was a really interesting idea, and I think this might be the first one to have a legit jump scare in it. I'm not saying it's in the same realm as Exorcist 3, but its execution is similar. Don't want to give it away because I think everybody should watch this one. So yeah, fun time, interesting story, pretty good acting, maybe a twist or two, and of course you get all the other staples of a Hellraiser movie. Number 5, Judgment. Okay, still here, keeping an open mind. I'm not going to defend the quality of the movie. Again, I'm not going to say this is like some masterpiece or even on par with the first 2 movies, but it's gritty, it's dirty, it's probably the grossest one of all of them, and that's not even about the blood. It's just, yeah. But one of the things I really liked about it is it kind of gives, and again, this isn't on par with Hellbound, but one similarity is that you're getting a different perspective of the Cenobite universe and how hell works. And that aspect just always stood out to me. I really think that this movie would get more love had Doug Bradley came back for this. The movie definitely has its flaws, but I think it gets more hatred because of Bradley not being there. But if you're willing to close your eyes to that, it's pretty decent. The ending I thought was a little but everything up to that, I mean, again, we're going back to like the police procedural angle of it all. Of course, there's dirty cops involved. But again, I like how you're getting kind of a different perspective of the hell lore. Is it the greatest idea? No. But I appreciate that they shot their shot. So as of today, I'm standing by this ranking. How you doing? You hanging in there? Everything good? Let me guess, you're not paying attention anymore. You're just like Googling to track me down. But in case you're not, this should clinch it. Number 4, Revelations, featuring the one that everyone refers to as Fat Pinhead. And I get it. The Pinhead in this doesn't work for me. But I really liked, first of all, the fact that they did as well as they did in like 5 minutes. They had like a week till they lost the rights to the franchise, and they just kind of whipped this all together. And the fact that they basically went back to the original movie, stylistically, I guess, or stylistically in the story, not visually or anything like that. But I mean, they touched on the found footage thing, which I get why they did that. Again, a product of its time. But I like the idea of them going back to, you had people, seeking out debaucherous pleasures. And not necessarily good people, but yeah, you kind of got, again, not as good as Frank, but someone in the vein of Frank. And you have these kids vacationing out in Tijuana, and they stumble upon the box, the shit hits the fan, and there's a handful of other elements that kind of take you back to, again, the storytelling of the original one. And I appreciate that they tried. And if nothing else, this is like 75 minutes, so you're not losing 2 hours of your life. It's closer to half that. But you get the whole, semi-resurrection, and then you need blood to fully resurrect. But overall, it's these kids go off on vacation, they're never to be heard from again, and it's focusing a lot on both their families, who I guess are friends amongst themselves, and they're just trying to figure out what the hell happened. They find the videotapes from their vacation, trying to piece it all together, and it's a lot of textbook drama and shit like that. But again, the fact that they threw this together so quickly, it's better than it should have been. Is it great? No, but it's another case of I have a good time with it. It's a quick watch, and just like I said with Judgment, just if you can at least numb yourself to the idea that Bradley is not in this one. And sorry, apparently this is the first one where he read the script and said, no fucking way, I want no parts of that. But I don't think it's any worse than a lot of the previous sequels. So I don't know what it was about this one that he despised so much, but I don't know. I think had he done this one, it may have brought a bit of a resurgence to the franchise. I'd like to think that the remake kind of did that. Not that I see anyone chomping at the bit for more Hellraiser, but it did kind of get more people to like it again. And I think had Bradley sucked it up and did this one, it would have been far more popular than it actually was. And at this point, this is all just formality. I'm pretty sure y'all know where the rest of this is going, and if you made it this far, you got through the thick of it. The remainder of this is, I think more people would agree with these. Whether or not the specific order, I don't know, but I think we can all agree this is probably the most universal top 3 of them all. Starting with number 3 is Part 3, Hell on Earth, and there are others I think I would normally put above this, but I have such nostalgia for this one. We've referenced a bunch of times on the show. This is the MTV Hellraiser. This is the Dream Master, the Jason Lives, the Bride of Chucky of the franchise. And yeah, it just has that nostalgia. I think it's the one that really blew this franchise out into the mainstream. And yes, it's campy as fuck. I mean, it's just downright dumb in a lot of ways. But I would say it's the most fun of all of them. Hellraiser should not be fun, but this is. And sorry, I fucking love it. You got J.P. Monroe playing the quintessential late 80s, early 90s, just fucking sleazeball character. It's a bit over the top, but in the most delightful way. And despite its campiness, I genuinely think that the whole church scene is pretty fucking dark. I remember being in my mid-teens watching this and was like, fuck, this is just evil. And not necessarily that I feel that way now. However, in all of its silliness, at the time, that just stood out and really made a mark. This is the one where they were probably most creative with the kills, as ridiculous as they were. So yeah, number 3, Hell on Earth. Fucking fight me, dude. And the most difficult decision of the episode, ultimately, the first 2 might as well just be a fucking tie. Like, by the time this episode's uploaded, I'm probably going to swap it out. This is genuinely, like, the 2 of these, I believe, are dead even, and it just comes down to where my brain is in that moment. But, gonna shotgun, number 2 is the OG 1987 Hellraiser, and number 1 is Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. And there really isn't that much more that could be said. I mean, there always could be, but I think at this moment, the only reason I put Hellbound at number 1 is I always go back to the Fangoria days and Gore Zone. And when that movie was coming out, the fucking centerfold of the help me, I'm in hell, like that fucked me up as a 13, 14-year-old. And I was almost afraid to watch that one initially. It's like, oh my God, there's people with no skin. And like, it fucked with me. Because I was still relatively new with horror. Or as far as being like an all-out fan. And that just felt so much creepier. But, like I said, I could wake up tomorrow and be like motherfucking myself. Oh, I should have done the original as my number 1. But, again, the 2 of these I feel are dead heat, and which one ekes out as the number 1 is going to change from moment to moment. But in their own way, I think they're both I don't want to say near perfect movies, but yeah, they're really fucking good. And this message has been brought to you by Captain Obvious. So, now that that's over, bring on the hate mail. I want to hear all of your rankings of these movies, or at least of the ones you watched, because it does feel like 5 through 8, and even the other non-Bradley ones, a lot of people won't touch, but I feel like a lot of them do have a pretty decent following, or at least have had enough eyes on it. But that's why you need to tell us what your feelings are on these movies, and I'm especially curious about the direct-to-video era, what your thoughts are on them, and how you would place them, even how you would rank them amongst themselves. But while you're thinking about it, like and share this shit, and especially if you made it to this point and not rage quit halfway through it, we appreciate you. So talk to you all next week, stay creepy, and most importantly, toodles.
Broadcast completed.
You've been listening to What an Excellent Day for a Podcast. Be sure to come on down to excellentdayforapodcast.com, where you'll find our entire catalog. And for your convenience, every episode contains a link where you can text the nerds. Want to throw some praise? Some critique? Perhaps you have a suggestion for a topic you'd like to see us tackle. But while you think about that, you can also check out the connections to all of our socials, including our YouTube channel. Give all them a visit. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with everybody you know. And for those feeling a little extra generous, there's also a button where you can support the show in other ways. Every bit of support helps. Well, that's it for this episode. And remember, stay creepy and keep talking some damn horror.